A ravishing psycho-fiend with the diabolical power to turn into a giant death's-head vampire feast on the blood of her lovers before clawing them to death. On this very day in history, May 16th, this film was released. It was The Blood Beast Terror, and this is Slasher Sports Cinema.
And I'm here to kill you.
I am Dracula.
You say that I have shed innocent blood. What's blood for, if not for shedding?
6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
You know, the film gets overlooked probably by the sheer disdain its own actors had for making it. But, Daddy, I'm here to tell you, I'm going to tell you one thing. I love this British shit. I believe it was Coach Lou from Major League who said that after he had his heart attack. But a scientist working with genetics creates a creature that is capable of transforming back and forth between a giant death-head moth and a beautiful woman. And boy, she's a hammer. The creature masquerades as his daughter when she's in her human form and feeds on the blood of her victims when she's in the moth form. Does it get any better than that? I don't think it does. But it was directed by Vernon Sewell. R.I.P. R.I.P. Vern. During his career, he made about every genre of film that you could make. Everything from exploitation film to murder mysteries. He made Frenzy, Radio Cab Murder, and some 38, 39 other films, including this one, The Blood Beast Terror. Peter Bryan wrote the screenplay on this one. And if you don't know him, you might know his work. If you're a fan of the Sherlock Holmes mysteries, Bryan wrote Hound of the Baskervilles, along with The Brides of Dracula, which, of course, the Blood Beast Terror star, Peter Cushing, reprised his role as Dr. Van Helsing in that film. I don't even know. I can't remember. Is there even an appearance by Dracula, or is it just about his ladies of the night? I don't know. But yeah, Pete Cushing, one of the many films that he made during this time, basically, it was to help pay for his wife's health treatments. She was declining, and eventually she died, maybe 2 or 3 years later. But this is one of them. This is one of the films that he basically signed on to do to make a little bit of money. And maybe that could be seen as just rushing it, phoning it in. No, sir. I'm not going to buy that. But he did consider it to be one of his worst films. One of the worst of his many, many films. And that is sad to me, because I enjoy the hell out of it. I'm going to make you love it too. Robert Fleming, he was in this one. And Basil Rathbone. Okay, Basil Rathbone was due to play a part in the film, but he died before the film was made. I can only assume it was to keep his name from being associated with it. But hey, joke's on you, Basil, you uncultured swine. We're associating your name with the Blood Beast Terror right here on Slasher Sports Cinema. But Robert Fleming ended up replacing him, and he hated working on the film too. Probably wished the sweet kiss of death had touched his visage instead of Rathbone. Alas, he lived on to tell the tale. But Wanda Venom. Wanda Venom. Back in the 60s, you could get away with naming your kid Wanda. So, but that makes, two people in the family who have no business being famous because she is one half of, I presume, one half of the couple responsible for birthing Benedict Cumberbatch. And yeah, so she should owe us all an apology for that. But she had a long career. She was in Doctor Who. She was in that UFO series that turned into 3 shitty films. But let me tell you, if there was anything about her, that gal was a hammer. And I mean a ball-peen hammer. So we can't really hold her dork son against her for that much. She was excellent in this film. She did her damn thing. But Vanessa Howard was another star of this film, and she played Meg. And I kind of want to come back to Vanessa in a second after I tell you, David Griffin played William, Glenn Edwards played Sergeant Allen, William Wilde played Brightwell, but Vanessa Howard. Let's talk about Vanessa Howard. She was in a film in 1970 called Girly, all right, which to this day remains one of my favorite horror films. But she claims this film, maybe one other one, kind of made her want to stop acting. She was young when she did. She was born in the late 40s, around the same time my mom was born. And then she dipped out of Hollywood in like 72. So she was 23 years old maybe when she left? My Tennessee math might be failing me. I don't know. But yeah, go look up the film, Girly. Vanessa Howard was, to me, the scream queen that got away. If you watch Girly, you'll see what I mean. You won't be sorry that you saw Girly. It won't be the worst time you've ever spent. If you hated it, get back to me. Don't at me so I don't see the notification. But, the tagline of this film, Girly, is the family that plays together slays together. I don't know that if there was an earlier example of that little phrase being played with. The family that prays together stays together. All that trite bullshit. So, moving on, my argument for this film is that it is not the pile of shit that everybody, including the actors, seemed to think it was. It was different. Okay, instead of repackaging the old Universal monsters like they seem to want to do every few years. I mean, how many Draculas have we had? We had Bela Lugosi. We had Jack Palance. We had Christopher Lee. We had Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman? No, Gary Oldman. Why do I get those two fuckers mixed up? I don't know. But yeah, we've had a lot of Draculas. We continue to have a lot of Draculas. But what the Blood Beast Terror did was it gave us a fresh monster. Okay? This Jekyll and Hyde type of situation where the lady turns into a moth at night, sucking the blood from men. You kind of like it. And it was fresh. It'd never been done. I mean, you had creatures turning into, or you had people turning into monsters, but this was brand new. It was fresh, no copycat bullshit, and man, Peter by God Cushing, Van Helsing himself. How do you hate that? I don't know, but go check this one out. It is on Tubi right now as we speak, and you know that is a free service, Daddy. If you're overseas, I'm very sorry. I learned last night that we have a lot of overseas listeners. Indonesia. Who knew we had listeners in Indonesia? I love that. I wish I could speak Indonesian, but I cannot. So I say thank you to our listeners overseas, whether you be in Ireland, which I know you're listening. Brazil, muito obrigado. If you are in Mexico, muchas gracias por su apoyo. If you are in Thailand, Khop Kun Krap. And That's all I got. Guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. Make sure you are following me on all the social medias at Slasher Cinema on Facebook, at Billy Graves SSC. You see it on the screen. It's on Twitter and Instagram, at Slasher Sports Cinema on TikTok. And of course, follow the whole Slasher Sports family. We got Slasher U with Christian Rao and Steve Feck, the OK Baseball podcast with Christian and Sean, Suki's Honeydew Project with Suki Suburbia, and of course, you come right back here to Slasher Sports Cinema with me, Billy Graves. And may you drink the blood of your enemies from the skulls of their children.